This is your First Alert Weather Breakdown, a deep dive into how weather works with meteorologist Evan Thomason.
Alrighty, good morning and happy Wednesday. Welcome into your hump day and welcome to blue skies and sunshine on out the door here for your Wednesday. Obviously, it was a completely different story starting out the morning this morning on your way to work and school. Lots of scattered showers and storms that we had to go through in for the early morning hours across the Arklatex, but it looks like most of that is done with. But in other parts of the region here, well, some of the areas are definitely more unlucky than others, and we're on the lucky side of things here while Florida continues to prepare itself for Helene. It has now just got upgraded to a Category 1 hurricane as of just 30 minutes ago, and it's expected to continue to gain strength as right now it's just off the very tip of Mexico. So that's our two big stories here for today. It's all about the sunshine and all about Helene moving on forward. We're going to talk about the local forecast here for today, and we're going to go into so much more and everything you need to know about Hurricane Helene as it potentially becomes a historic storm in for Florida. We'll be talking about its tracking, talking about where it goes, how intense it's going to be, all those forecasts and more on top of your local 7-day forecast here for today. Hello, I'm meteorologist Evan Thompson. Hope you're having a great day out so far in for your Wednesday. I don't know why I had to remember that. It's been a long morning. We had to go through lots of rain showers again for the early morning hours this morning. If you joined us, thankfully, thank you very much for joining us on KSLA.com, on our website or app. But if you're on any of those platforms, guess what? You can catch us on YouTube or on Facebook as well, because we're on both of those platforms. I'm not just saying both those platforms are better, but I'm saying that both of those platforms, guess what? You can type and also submit your questions and your comments, so to speak, and let me know exactly what you guys want to talk about. Any specific questions you have on any certain aspect of the local forecast, on Helene itself, anything and everything. I know for me, I have friends in Florida who are definitely concerned about definitely concerned with the system, and it's kind of just a nuisance at this point, honestly, moving on forward. So I wish the best for those in Florida. We'll have all the latest coming up in the Helene forecast here for today. I know we're already got some, it looks like we don't have a comment yet on either YouTube or Facebook for the moment. But, yeah, we're going to be going into all those details and so much more now. We're going to get to Helene. That's going to be the meat and potatoes of the exclusive content here for the day today. The same thing's going to happen for tomorrow, basically all the way up until its landfall point, which is likely to happen tomorrow afternoon and evening, while conditions continue to get better locally here in the Arklatex, actually. So, yeah. All right, so before we get to Helene and the meat and potatoes of, I guess, the First Alert Weather Breakdown podcast, let's go into our weather forecast locally first. Let's get the good news first. Let's start on a good footing, and that's the fact that we're getting rid of our rain showers here for the morning hours as I'm trying to get our weather graphics all set up behind the scenes here. Yeah, so we got probably about a quarter of an inch of rain to half an inch is at least what the forecasts were calling for to start off the morning hours. There's still a slight chance of some wet weather here remaining here today behind the cold front, which breezed on by here early this morning. And thankfully, we're going to start clearing things up in here we're already starting to do that here right now, and we should be completely clear by this time tomorrow morning, which will be great to have with us. And overall, the big message moving forward is that we're going to have cooler sunshine, kind of two usually opposites that we're talking about in the Arklatex. It's usually hot and sunny, and it's cooler and rainy, but it's going to be cooler and sunny. And for the next several days, that cold front is really going to leave its mark on the Arklatex at least for the next 4 to 5 days with cooler than average temperatures. On top of that, we got lots of sunshine hanging around here as well. So, satellite, locally, it's all about the low pressure and cold front, which just passed through the Arklatex. That was a picture in from the surface analysis was taken from earlier on this morning. So, yeah, the storm clouds move off to our south and east and away from us. And what's behind this cold front and low pressure system is nothing but dry air in from the north and west, which is graciously accepted by us And that's going to keep us nice and dry here for the most part over the next several days. Now, might get a slight chance of some wet weather here for Friday, but we'll get to that a little more here in this future track. So, and for the rest of today, again, maybe just a spotty shower in south side of Shreveport, south side of Longview. Overall, for the rest of your Wednesday, could spawn maybe a heavy rain shower storm by Nacogdoches, Hemphill, overall the southern portion of the Arklatex. But overall, most of us look to remain dry in for the rest of Wednesday, so that by the time we get to Thursday, I mean, there's just going to be a lack of cloud cover at all. It's going to be completely sunny skies, and we're barely going to have a chance at any clouds rolling into the Arklatex at all. Then we roll into Friday, and if you notice, there's a little bit of activity coming from the north that could build in a few chances at some rain showers and storms, and that is actually from the remnants from Helene. Yes, we'll get into that in just a little bit, but notice here locally for the Arklatex, again, we have a slight chance, about a 20% chance of rain, and for mainly the northern half of the Arklatex here for your Friday and Saturday to watch out for. But the temperatures and the low humidity is going to be something to adore and look forward to. Look at this. 82 today here in Shreveport, 78 in Mansfield, 82 also for Texarkana, 83 for Natchitoches, 82 in for Nacogdoches, and 80 in for Mount Pleasant across the northeastern portion of Texas. As for your travel forecast here, 20% chance of rain showers. Again, that's kind of lingering on from that future track, the future track that we saw there for Friday morning. Some of those showers could even linger into Saturday too. But overall, most of the weekend is pretty dry here. Temperatures staying put in the lower 80s, low humidity staying in place, sunshine also staying in place. Again, this happens for the next 4 consecutive days. It's nice and impressive. Even then, Monday and Tuesday, things don't change that badly. We'll get into Hurricane Helene again one more time here, heading into the next block. As for your 7-day forecast, again, 20% chance of rain showers in for the rest of today, and then just a few showers possible, mainly for the northern half of the Arklatex and for your Friday and Saturday. Besides that, it's dry for the most part here for the next 7 straight days. Again, highs in the lower 80s for the next 5 straight days. Lows are going to be getting down into the lower 60s over the next couple of mornings as well before we even start to warm things up. Even then, it's looking like highs starting next week and in through the middle of next week are going to be getting in the mid to upper 80s, but hopefully not up to 90. So far, I haven't seen any temperature models hinting at us returning to 9 degrees heading into the middle to late part of next week, but which is good news, I should say. But we'll see. We'll keep you first alert. Obviously, that's way a ways down the road. All right, that's your local forecast. Yeah, the meat and potatoes of this weather podcast in here for today is all about Helene. Again, we're going to be talking about that so much more in depth. We're also going to be talking about what that means again for our local weather here into Friday and Saturday. We'll get into that point. Coming up next, I will also address any and all questions you have on Facebook and YouTube after this break. Stick with us. Boom. Welcome back to First Alert Weather Breakdown. I'm meteorologist Evan Thomason. Welcome back, and thank you again for watching. Really appreciate it. Tuning in now. Hurricane Helene. Again, it just got it upgraded to a hurricane. It's just off the Mexican coastline, off the Yucatan Peninsula to be specific. It's actually hitting Cancun technically right now. We'll get into that in just a moment. Again, we're your First Alert Eye on the tropics. That was the wrong thing that I did there. There we go. Beautiful. I know how to work technology. Also, I don't know if you could tell, I had the lights off. I mean, I wasn't completely in the dark for the first block that we did before that commercial break, but it makes a little bit of a difference, you know? Anyways, we're your First Alert Eye on the tropics here. And anytime there's anything in the Gulf of Mexico, we are worried, we're concerned about it. We always want to make sure it goes in a better direction than here. And that is the case here with this storm, thankfully. Thankful for us, at least. For others, again, unlucky. In particular, that's going to be the main story for Florida. Here is a look at Hurricane Helene. Again, it's got winds up to 80 miles an hour now. It's a Category 1 hurricane. There it is, currently right on the Yucatan Peninsula. In fact, its core actually might make just the tiniest bit of a landfall, just barely crossing that peninsula there in Mexico. But a good chunk of the storm that you see there is still over the open waters, and it's continuing to move north and west to go into the hot tub of Mexico, known as the Gulf of Mexico as well. One thing I want to note with this system is look how big it is. Those outer bands are already hitting Florida. We already had a flash flood warning about an hour to 2 hours ago, actually, in northern Florida by Tallahassee, just off the coastline in Apalachicola. Already getting a flash flood warning. That is honestly crazy because, again, this system still hasn't even reached the Gulf of Mexico. And that's how big it has gotten. Some of these bands on the southern end are almost reaching areas of South America. Just gives you, again, the intel to how large in size this is, which I don't think enough people are putting into perspective. Because, yes, our forecast is still for it to call itself a major hurricane. Category 3, Category 4 at landfall. We'll get into the future track in just a little bit. But the size of it is going to be immense. And that's also what could give us here and locally in the Arklatex actually a chance of rain from this system, even though it's not going to directly impact us. So absolutely huge, enormous storm. Honestly, once this actually gets into the Gulf of Mexico, I mean, technically you could already say that it's covering most of the eastern side of the Gulf of Mexico, but especially once it gets in the Gulf, this is going to cover almost the entire Gulf of Mexico in size. It's going to be huge and almost the entire size of a state, if not 2 or 3. It's going to be massive. Anyways, yeah, this is a potential, I think you get the point. It's a potential historic storm that we're dealing with over the next 2 days. Again, landfall is scheduled for tomorrow afternoon and evening. Now, want to get into a graphic I had on the morning shows, which did go over some of the weather here locally in the Arklatex, but it brings in a rare and unusual point with this system in particular. Now, everything steering-wise for this storm for Helene is going to be controlled by this low-pressure system. It's the same low pressure that gave us our cold front this morning. It's the same reason why also Helene is not going towards the Arklatex. It's giving us cooler air in our local region. But out to our east, once Helene starts getting into the Gulf of Mexico, it's going to pull up Helene on its east side, mainly because the rotation of that low pressure that's already sitting on the east coast of America is already having a counterclockwise rotation. Counterclockwise. Trying to do that backwards. There we go. Wait, no. That's the way it's going for you guys' direction. That's interesting on the cameras. Anyways, you get the point. It's rotating counterclockwise. So on the east side, you get winds from the south going northward, and that's what's going to help slingshot that entire system and storm northward, straight due northward, and hopefully not any bit westwards. That's why the storm is going to go straight into northern Florida. And interestingly enough, because it gets slingshotted up northward, it's going to get a lot of momentum. It's going to get a lot of speed. So there are potential hurricane winds the potential for hurricane winds could reach as far north as Atlanta. It's going to be impressive how far north the actual hurricane side and the hurricane winds, how far they move inland is going to be really, really impressive. Then we have something called the Fujiwara effect, which is a very rare thing to talk about, period. And that's when the low pressure that's giving our cold front here for today and our hurricane are going to combine into one. It's kind of a rare thing, but it is going to occur here by Friday and Saturday, and it's part of why the Helene and the remnants of Helene are going to go westward, because it's going to rotate around. It's going to rotate rotate around like this and curl into the low pressure system to where we have a strong low pressure over the East Coast that's going to give us lots of rain showers for mainly areas, states like Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, but this could still reach and has, again, a huge size, which we talked about earlier, which could give us rain showers all the way into Shreveport and the Arklatex. So let's get straight now into the future track. Again, 80-mile-an-hour winds here for today. This is what it looks like on our future track moving on forward. By tonight, it could be a Cat 2. By tomorrow morning, a Cat 3. And this is where things get dangerous, especially with all of that time between tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon and evening. Not be shocked to see this get upgraded to a Cat 4, if not 5, actually. I'm calling it now. Just going to say and put that out there. Again, this is likely to make landfall somewhere as of right now around northern Florida. Basically gunslinging for Tallahassee first, and then going straight northward into Atlanta, where it could still be a strong tropical storm. Look at that, 60 miles an hour of wind still in the northern portion of Georgia as well. That is incredible. And then if you look at the future track, again, look how huge this system is. That could track those few chances of rain showers as far west as the Arklatex. But look at the eastern edge of the system, bringing lots of heavy rain showers all the way into Virginia, D.C., and even into some areas of the northeast as well. So yeah, this is going to hook westward and finally start to lose a good amount of strength by Saturday, specifically in the afternoon hours. That's the future track here for it. Last thing we'll go over with this before I answer any questions you guys have on Facebook or YouTube, for those of you watching there, is the rainfall potential. It's looking like a standard, what am I thinking? Historic 7 inches or so, not just for Tallahassee, but look at the rainfall into northern Georgia. 7 to 10 inches. Look at that little scrape right there. That just means that we have localized flash flooding pretty much anywhere throughout Georgia. The Appalachians are definitely prone to lots of flash flooding issues over the next few days. This could continue into Kentucky, Tennessee. I think you see how widespread this issue really is. So yes, as much as northern Florida and the Big Bend is what I like to call it, and what other people like to call it, and what's known for, it's called Big Bend. It's its nickname. There in northern Florida, the Florida Panhandle. That's going to get the brute force, definitely the storm of the wind and the storm surge, which is up to 10 to 15 feet. My goodness. Yeah, it's going to be a historic storm for not just northern Florida is my point, but for many states around Florida. Wow. Yeah. All right, let's get to your questions now. I'll bring back up the graphics if you guys have any questions about anything specific, so to speak, for us. So, yeah, let's go into some of the questions. I'm looking at Facebook first. Looks like we have 3 comments. Looks like 2 shares, and then 1 question from Victoria. How does Saturday forecast look like from the morning to the afternoon? Well, here locally in the Arklatex, at least for Saturday, I'll bring back up the future track real quick here for you. For Saturday, I'm expecting only about a 10% rain chance in for today. Locally in the Arklatex, rain chances elsewhere are looking a little worse than that. Let me pull up, again, the graphics. I'm working on it here. There we go. And so this is for Saturday afternoon. Thankfully, the rain coverage and the storm in itself looks like it's going to drop off quite a bit between Friday, which is where it looks like it's kind of peak of rain coverage. Again, that stretches all the way from the Arklatex, especially the northern region of the Arklatex, all the way over to D.C. That's a whole stretch of rain showers from one system. That's really impressive. Other weather models are hinting at some of this rain even continuing into most of those same areas for Saturday. But overall, I only have a light 10 to 20% rain chance. Even for Friday, most of that rain should only reach mainly the northern half of the Arklatex, and for Texarkana, southwestern Arkansas, and southeastern Oklahoma. I'm not really expecting the rain to reach down to Shreveport. We'll see. 10 to 20% chance. Weather models are still iffy on it because of how far exactly still this system is out, both in time and also for the fact that the core of the storm is all the way in Kentucky. It's reaching us with rain showers, which is really impressive. So, yeah, I hope that answers your question for Saturday. Sunday is definitely going to be the completely sunny day, and completely dry day overall. I'm still expecting a good amount of sunshine here for Saturday. It might be a little cloudy, but I don't think the weekend's going to get too harmed from this, at least locally for the Arklatex. Elsewhere, again, if you're Kentucky, Tennessee, areas like that, it could get a little more rain then if you're in other areas. So hopefully that answered your question, Victoria. Kayla, thank you very much for watching. I saw your comment as well. Thank you guys for tuning in. And again, if you have any questions, I am here. I went over the forecast for the local Arklatex over the next several days. Again, nothing but mostly sunshine. And for us, besides a stray few outskirt rain chances from Helene, and we also went over the Helene forecast in depth just now too. And again, it's going to be impressive in size and magnitude. It's going to make landfall again tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. We're going to go over this again for tomorrow's episode as well. We're going to see how strong it gets and see last-minute impacts for tomorrow's show. We'll also have a recap on today's episode and preview tomorrow's episode coming up. We're going to go to one last break, and I'll answer any final questions you guys have then. Stick with you after this break. Hang tight. And welcome back to KSLA News 12 First Alert Weather Breakdown. We got to end this quickly because guess what? We have an episode coming up at 11 of Who's Got Your Vote with Stephen Maxwell. So we're going to wrap this up very quickly to set up for that. But real quick, and lastly, I just want to say I don't see anything else on Facebook or YouTube to my knowledge. I'm so sorry, but we'll be doing this again tomorrow, same time, 10:30. Join us there. Get a little more of a preview of that in store. But for those of you just joining us kind of for the first time, that's what we do. First Alert Weather Breakdown. We just kind of, we're all about the weather. We're a weather podcast because sometimes I don't have enough time to get out what I want to say about everything weather-wise on our shows. Main weather forecast lasts 3 minutes, and I understand lasts about two and a half, or yeah, it lasts about 2 to 3 minutes overall. I think you get the point. But we kind of rant on a little more about the weather, a lot more in depth. And this platform also allows you guys to send in comments, questions, things like that. You can send us an email to weatherbreakdown@ksla.com. We talk about other things rather than hurricanes. We talk over Met chats. We see overall forecasts, climatological things happening. Also explaining things scientifically. How does a tornado work? Things like that. You can send any topics to us, weatherbreakdown@ksla.com, or message us on Facebook, or contact any of us at the First Alert Weather Team. Again, join us any weekday, 10:30. We are here on this live stream, ksla.com, on our live stream, on YouTube as well. That's the usual platforms that we are on. All right, again, thank you guys very much for joining. For tomorrow's episode, we'll take one last look at Helene. We'll kind of go back to normal here for Friday. But yeah, landfall is imminent here, heading into tomorrow night with Hurricane Helene, likely to become a major hurricane. We'll get one more update on that for tomorrow's episode at 10:30. Join us right back again here. As for me, I'm First Alert Meteorologist Evan Thomas. You have a great rest of your Wednesday. Enjoy the sunshine, enjoy the cooler air, and I'll see you again tomorrow.